Members, welcome back. Sorry about that. Members, welcome back. Please mute. Please mute. Right. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back, members. Welcome back. Sorry about that. Just allow me to, yesterday we saw the policy that refers to the signposts, to the 4 signposts for the humanitarian action. And I will go by explaining the first signpost for action is the most important. It is designed to impress upon the consciousness of every national society and the International Federation their fundamental responsibility to persuade decision makers to act in the interest of vulnerable. Of the vulnerable people. The remaining signposts give that new mindset. It brings to us a new mindset. It brings to us a new mindset. A defined structure, a framework that sets out the way that responsibility should be exercised. And here it is. You can see number 2, persuading with appropriate diplomatic tools and action. So that is what the author is saying. The author says it gives us a new mindset, because you can see right here, persuading with appropriate diplomatic tools and action. Sometimes you want to do something, you want to reach decision makers and opinion leaders, and we are not able to do that. It is because it is calling us to have a new mindset, and even to have a proper understanding of the action that we need to take towards humanitarian diplomacy, or towards negotiation, towards persuasion. It's very important to know which tool to apply for the purpose of our humanitarian work or humanitarian services. Continuation on that sentence is, or how to exercise it. Now, the individual national society and the International Federation has a responsibility. Now, federation are these humanitarian organizations that are recognized by the UN General Assembly, that are recognized on a national level or on a community level, sorry. So this federation has the responsibility, number 1, persuade decision makers and other opinion leaders, basically people in the place of authority, to act in the interest of vulnerable people. Because sometimes these leaders, they make decisions that are so positive but can improve livelihoods or the lives of people. But they must do that according to the humanitarian principles. That is why this part says, persuade decision makers and other opinion leaders to act in the interests of vulnerable people and with full respect of fundamental humanitarian principles. How do they do this? They do this by recognizing that the collective forces of national societies and the international federations or federation are important voice in relation to the world of humanitarian challenges. So what I would like to encourage the class, when you have a humanitarian organization or you're part of a humanitarian organization, for humanitarian organization, they don't go alone like businesses. No, for humanitarian organization, they work as partners. I want to give an example. We are maybe in Southern Sudan, in Somalia, or in Afghanistan, or in Ukraine, whereby there is Russia-Ukraine war. So in such a field, the field has a lot of complexities. The field has a lot of challenges. Others are looking after children, others are looking after women, others are looking for maybe pitching tents for humanitarian organization. So I want you to understand that that's a very diversified structure. Others are looking for food, others are dealing with the health, and every humanitarian organization must map the area of their operationalization or where they are needed to serve or operate. You're not going to just say, okay, I'm going to the field, I need to be funded. Funded to do what? Are you going to deal with small microfinance organization, institutions? Are you going to deal with water? Are you going to deal with water, health, and sanitation? Are you going to deal with the soldiers? By the way, not everybody there is a humanitarian. Others are dealing with education. So humanitarian organizations, they don't work alone. Even schools or people that are doing capacity building, just like the way we're doing right here. No one is an expert. In the humanitarian sector, we continue learning. We continue learning. We continue getting expertise. We don't say we are satisfied, because the humanitarian field has hundreds and thousands and millions of challenges. That every day we need to find out on how to improve what we call humanitarian action or humanitarian response of serving humanity better from the continuous emerging challenges globally. And then another point is, you see, like persuading decision makers. How do we really persuade decision makers? We persuade decision makers with what I just shared. Because as a humanitarian organization, we want to go to the field to help improve the crisis to people who are not part of the, these people are vulnerable because they are not part of the problem. When hunger strikes, when drought strikes, maybe locusts, maybe lack of water, the people who are in that particular region, they are not part of a cause. So they remain vulnerable, not knowing what to do. And one thing you'll be happy with humanitarian organization is because they are meeting a need. Yeah, they bring a solution right to the lives of people. That's very important. So you need to map your area as an organization. You're going to a particular country. For example, you map and say, what is the problem of sub-Saharan Africa? What is the problem in Puerto Rico, for example? If we are these people affected by tsunami, these people are affected by maybe the pandemic, malaria, Ebola, or are the youths the one affected most? Are they the young girl affected? You see, that is crucial and really very critical. So a humanitarian organization, or are the children affected, maybe young children, which age? Are you dealing just with the education, or are you focusing on child or children's security, recognizing, number two, that the collective forces of national societies and the International Federation are important voice in relation to many of the world humanitarian challenges. So, and that it's important that our voice in public or private context can be heard as much as possible. Number three, recalling at all times centrality of the fundamental principles of the movement. They must remember that our fundamental principles, including fundamental principle of neutrality, are important. So you as an organization, you don't approach humanitarian work by saying, I am the director, I have nothing. We know you're the director, but what you're directing has expertise. What are the expertise that you have in your education? What are the solutions that we are bringing on the ground? It's very important. As a leader, what is your team out to do? For us to allow you to give you visas or to give you authority to operate hospitals, to carry humanitarian work. That is why in most cases, when you want to do a medical camp to give, for example, in Africa, you want to do a medical camp, you must let the chief know if you want to distribute food. It will be against the government laws in some countries. If you just wake up and begin giving people food or giving them medical treatment, the medication you're providing is against what? So a mapping of the humanitarian organization area is very important still. So you'll be telling the government, I have seen a need, and this is the need I want to bring on the ground. Another point would be recalling at all times the centrality of the fundamental principles of the movement. They must remember that our fundamental principles include fundamental principle of neutrality are important. I read that. Number two, maybe you'll be sharing with them that protector of humanitarian space. You are a protector of humanitarian space. If it is girls who have been affected, if it is boy child, you see, they must not, however, use neutrality as an automatic trigger for diplomatic disengagement. So they don't have to say, okay, we are neutral, not on either side. You have to engage and get a solution, but with full respect. That is an emphasis in the humanitarian sector. So neutrality is the means by which humanitarian values can be protected. But neutrality does not mean inactivity. You must have what you call an action, a humanitarian response when you're in the field. So remember, working with all organizations, it's not networking, no, it is partnership. In the humanitarian sector, it's not, we don't say networking. Partnership, which means you are in agreement, you're putting out agreements, documentation. Persuade decision makers and other opinion leaders by making use of appropriate diplomatic tools and action. The deployment of these tools and action will be assisted by identifying the relevant decision makers. Yes, approaching decision makers, not every decision makers, who are relevant in the need that you might be having. You see that? And other opinion leaders in specific culture and context which they are operating. You have to know, do I approach the public relations manager or officer? Is this for a CEO? But you need to be guided from where to get started. Understanding the decision-making process in the specific culture and context in which they are operating. I repeat again, understanding the decision-making process in a specific culture and context in which they are operating. Another point is national society by encouraging people with skills in advocacy, negotiation. You just want to bring your expertise, your knowledge, your understanding, your wisdom You know, you want to help people. You know, advocacy means creating awareness. And then negotiation, you want to make sure that people are agreeing. Communication, proper communication, and other diplomatic experience, or to bring the skills to national societies, including their volunteer and staff. And that is why it's very important you take a certificate called humanitarian volunteers. If you have to volunteer around the world, you need to know who is a volunteer, how they operate. It's very important to have like literally understanding, because you might be knowing something different, but it's good to understand. Following up on key strategic objectives and continually cultivating relationship with the decision makers and our opinion leaders. So cultivating relationship with key leaders and other opinion leaders while exercising caution not to compromise independence. It is important to recognize that persistence over many years is often required in order to achieve diplomatic objectives. You see that? Please, many people would like to take this. They have a very bad culture. Sometimes, some of them, they want to start today and tomorrow, they are running $1 billion company or they are successful. It takes time to recognize the importance of, it is important to recognize that persistence over many years. Persistence and focus. Many people want to start in the morning and get paid in the evening. No, just be there for some time. You saw the Order of Malta. The Order of Malta, it took them many years for them to start in Jerusalem, come to Malta, establish themselves, build bilateral and bilateral relationship. Takes time. And focusing on the areas of knowledge and expertise, it shall do this by recognizing that the responsibility to persuade is centrally connected to the knowledge, experience, and mission of the national society. You have a mission as a society, as a national society, or as an organization, or as a federation. You see that? You have a mission. What is your mission? Recognizing what is the responsibility to persuade. So this will come from the experience that you have as an organization, as a leader of an organization, as staff members. What have you been doing? And how can you enhance whatever you're doing? And hence, it's not required to act on every subject of vulnerability. You have specific areas, that is what I was saying, map your area of action. Fostering a system of institutional memory, it is imperative that the best practices, strategies, and knowledge gained by all national societies, gain as an organization, you gain knowledge. And I want to repeat again, we all need to work together as a team in an organization. For us to achieve a goal, anything that will transform people's lives, you don't have to be just a lone ranger. No, you need people. You need to be a team. Let's work together and see what we can achieve as a great army of humanitarians. Let me repeat, it is imperative that the best practices, strategies, knowledge gained by national societies and the International Federation be reported and shared across all the national societies and the International Federation. Adhering to an evidence-based approach, thus enabling national societies and the International Federation to build their humanitarian diplomacy based from position of strength. You need to know where to get started. Demonstrating integrity, delivery capacity of national societies at all levels of the International Federation. Utilizing International Federation policies, points of view papers, official speeches, and other report documents. Engage at appropriate times with partners outside the movement, including governments as well as NGOs. It shall do this by recalling that the scale of humanitarian challenges frequently exceeds the coping capacity of individual states or humanitarian organizations. Do you know that even states sometimes, they cannot feed their people. They call for international aid. So the coping capacity to be able to serve the people with a need in the humanitarian space might not be very easy. Another point is exercise responsibility when entering into partnership, in particular by ensuring that expectation of potential partners are transformed and the obligation of each party, including with respect to resource mobilization, are clearly expressed. The scope. The policy on humanitarian diplomacy. This is very important for you to know that policy of humanitarian diplomacy are very important in any organization or a country. We saw yesterday the Turkish international policy. So the policy on humanitarian diplomacy has been established to provide national societies and international federation with a more effective framework of advancing their core objectives. It is therefore an overarching policy different from others in that it is designed to support the key messages of national societies and the international federation with greater visibility and influence, but not to change the substance of those messages. The establishment of this humanitarian diplomacy policy is therefore complementary and supportive of all existing policies, programs, and strategies of the International Federation. Responsibilities. National societies and international federation have responsibility to ensure that all policies, programs, and initiatives are supported by this policy, and that all staff and volunteers participating in such programs are aware of the rational content of the policy, and that all relevant government, intergovernmental, non-governmental partners are adequately informed about this. National societies and international federations have a responsibility for ensuring that all relevant governance, volunteer, and staff at all levels are required with the necessary skills and training to implement this policy. The International Federation will support national societies' needs in this area. Somebody can read for us the last paragraph. Anybody can read for us? Naftali, are you ready?
Societies,
right.
National
Go ahead.
Performance evaluation of the policy. National societies and the International Federation will develop indicators appropriate to their context based on the statement above and the impact their humanitarian diplomacy has had is expanding humanitarian space and support for the most vulnerable.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Thank you. Thank you for that. Next week will come the aims of humanitarian diplomacy. But for those that are having class, there is a very special class going on. That particular class will continue every day at 9. Thank you very much, members, for coming in. What is your takeaway tonight? What is something you've learned from this lesson today? Yes, Naftali, you're welcome, sir.
Yeah, Your Eminence, number one, let me again recognize your abilities and your trait of sincere and steadfast fixed of purpose.
Right.
As far as your teachings are concerned.
Right.
Now, the main thing I'm getting here is persuasion, that we need to have that communication geared to or intended to induce belief or action from decision makers and opinion leaders. So we need to nurture and protect that skill of communication, persuasion, that prompting or canvassing, which is which now brings neutrality. Yeah, your eminence. I feel happy appreciation.
You're welcome, sir, and thank you for sharing. Yes, it's very good to know that we now raise the bar, right, and do the right thing. Yes, we have a Bishop Brown. You raised your hand. You're welcome, sir.
Yes, thank you, Your Eminence, for this opportunity.
Right.
I think my takeaway tonight is that in this humanitarian field, I am not sufficient on my own. I need to surround myself with people who are knowledgeable in the area I seek to pursue as I serve humanity. And again, there is not a time I will have known enough. It is a field where you keep learning and keep learning and keep learning.
You're right. Exactly, because of the global challenges, which the global challenge are normally new. Yes, Priscilla, you're welcome. So Priscilla, you raised up your hand. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, Your Eminence.
Yes.
Thank you so much for the lessons for today. My take-home point is that as humanitarian organizations, they don't call the other, those who want to work together with you as connections, networks, but we call them partners. So it becomes partnership when you work together. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Exactly, because you partner in which area and what you want to. So right now you should be looking for the right partners. You said it well, to work with you in the humanitarian sector. Thank you very much. I will leave you from there today. Yes, Dr. Mumbi, you raised up your hand.
I did, and there was a very important word that you mentioned there, and I had to underline it. It's called persistence. You know, many at times when we are working, I think it was very key to know that persistence over many, and I will call them and underline the word many years, is required in order to meet some of these humanitarian diplomatic objectives.
Right.
Because sometimes we think of starting our work 1 year and say, oh, we've been doing, oh, I passed through here. Oh, sometimes it costs all our lives what we did slowly and building it to magnificent something.
Right. I agree, Dr. Mumbi, because one thing, and again, for you to have persistence, maybe you have just a few right people, few right networks, advisors, people you can travel that journey. So you make a choice, something magnificent like the Order of Malta. It took a bit of time to really do that, having the right people with the right focus. So we'll end there for today. God bless you for coming, and we'll see you next week again on Monday at the same time. God bless and have a great evening.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye for now. Thank you.